Hello, and welcome to the interview series for the Nonfiction Authors Association. Today's session is with Kevin Tumlinson, and we'll be talking about the 2022 Draft to Digital and Smashwords merger, what it means to authors looking for book creation and distribution options. I'm Carla King, your host, and I'm happy to have you with us today. This event will last up to 30 minutes, and recordings are available on all our Nonfiction Authors Association social media channels, and we'd especially like for you to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. If you're new to us, our members receive an author advisor email every week featuring curated media leads and links to exclusive member content. Members can also participate in a free mastermind group we call the Author Brainstorm Exchange, and also get access to our private community on Facebook. Discounts are available for our year-round Nonfiction Book Awards program, the annual Nonfiction Writers Conference, and our book marketing and book publishing master courses. Both have optional professional certification. We can't forget discounts with our awesome partners, including Lulu, Findaway Voices, Office Depot, Ingram Spark, and others. And finally, we'd love for you to join us at nonfictionauthorsassociation.com. And now I'd like to introduce our guest. Kevin Tumlinson is an award-winning best-selling author, and he's also known as the voice of indie publishing for his work in podcasts and public speaking worldwide. He's also director of marketing and public relations for Draft2Digital, a book creation and distribution company that merged with Smashwords in 2022. You can find Kevin on kevintumlinson.com, and you can find Draft2Digital on draft2digital.com, and the 2 is a numeral 2, draft2digital.com. Hi, Kevin. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi. Thank you for having me. Here we are again.
Here we are again, you know. And we have talked together a lot on podcasts and at panels at conferences and each other's podcasts and your podcast about writing and publishing and marketing and creative writing and travel and all that. But today we're talking in your official capacity at Draft2Digital and focusing on the 2022 Draft2Digital and Smashwords merger. To start, can you just quickly describe D2D for our nonfiction authors who don't know about the company? And then we'll get into the nuts and bolts of features in a few minutes.
Yeah, Draft2Digital is known as what's known as a publishing aggregator, which really just means that we have the ability to get your manuscript. We'll help you convert your manuscript into an ebook, the ebook format, and we'll get that book to all the various retailers we can around the world. Mostly digital. We have recently gotten into the print game, so we are expanding our relationships there. But in a nutshell, that's what Draft2Digital is. We help you get your book into ebook format and out to the world so that you can accomplish that writing dream that you have.
I know Draft2Digital had and does have a wonderful user interface, is known for its user interface, whereas Smashwords has you develop your manuscript in Microsoft Word, which is difficult for some people. So the ease of use of Draft2Digital paired with the features and functions of Smashwords is a wonderful thing. And I want to tell the nonfiction authors that it's a great merger, and I'm so excited about it, really, because you both have been ebook heavy in the past, and now you've been tackling print for a while now. So I just want to ask you regarding ebook creation first. You do have a tool that we can use, or you can bring your own design to the platform.
Right. So we can accept a variety of formats. If you just have your Word document, you're really in luck, because we have this free formatting tool that you can choose. With nonfiction writers, their choice of template is probably going to be limited to just some pretty basic stuff. But if you want to get fancy, there's all kinds of really fancy templates. If you've ever heard of the software called Vellum. We offer something very similar to Vellum, but for free, and it is what I call platform agnostic. It is available. Like, I've actually used this from my iPhone, standing in line at Disney World, by the way, and used it to format a book on the go. So you can have your manuscript uploaded in that format and use our templates to do a layout and everything. It's very simple, very automated. The formats will accept our Word. You can upload an RTF file, or you can bring in your own EPUB file if you'd like. You just don't get to use our fancy tools at that point. But we wanted to accommodate everybody, and all that stuff is automated, and it includes things like automated in matter, which is, if you're unaware of what that is, it's, there's pages like an also by page, like these are books that are also by this author, or we automate the copyright page, we automate the table of contents, the about the author. You can have all that stuff automated. And if you publish more than one book through us, we can actually update the also by page every time you upload a new book. So if you're distributing through us, we can always make sure that every book, including your first book, has an up-to-date also by page whenever a customer buys it. So
that's very cool.
Little things like that.
Yeah. I love that, because I know you've written so many books, and we have a lot of nonfiction authors who write serial books, and they have ideas for all kinds of books. And it is that front matter and back matter that just drives us crazy when we're doing it ourselves.
Right.
So I want you to talk a little bit about ebook distribution, or aggregation, as we call it, just to make things more complicated. we
can stick with distribution.
Okay, let's stick with distribution. How does that happen, and what is your reach?
Okay, so the aggregation part of that is just that we aggregate all those different sales platforms, right? So we make them all available to you from one location. That's really what it comes down to. We're continuously forming new relationships with different retailers worldwide. A lot of those retailers will sometimes have lots of like sub retailers or sub channels. So especially like in Europe, we're involved with, in that region, like we're involved with Tolino, for example, and Tolino's got a whole bunch of relationships with other distribution platforms. We have library distribution.
And Tolino, just to clarify, is what?
I believe that's I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it's German language.
Oh, darn it. I was going to say Norway or something.
Could be Italian.
Sorry.
So I mix these up all the time. Here's the good news, though. You don't have to take my diced up word for any of this. On our website at draft2digital.com, we have a list of every single primary retailer, and you can see who they are and find out who they are. Who they
so distribute. Even if you're publishing a book in English, you are reaching English speaking markets worldwide,
all over the world, right? Yeah. And you can distribute foreign language through us as well. It's just that there's whatever the complications are for you in that, they're going to carry over to us. So we don't speak every language, and we don't monitor that or whatever. And so most of the marketplaces we distribute to are going to be primarily English speaking, but we reach all those different language marketplaces.
So if I have my book translated into Spanish, for instance, I can still use D2D to distribute the ebook everywhere.
Yeah. Cool. We have people who do exactly that. They distribute German, Italian. We've got all kinds.
And so what is the royalty split between you as a distributor and the cost of using you instead of going to 100 different ebook companies individually?
So that is a really important thing to talk about, because the question that gets asked all the time is how much, how much is it going to cost me? And the reality of it is that we don't charge you anything. We don't have any fees, but what we do is take a cut of royalties. So if you distribute your book through us and it goes out there and gets purchased on, say, Kobo, or you can use this to get to Amazon or Apple or whatever. And if someone buys it, it ends up being about a 15% cut from each sale. That's the only money we make. And so I kind of consider it a convenience fee, like, having all this, you've got all this stuff in one place. You can upload your book one time and then distribute it everywhere, but also see all your sales everywhere. And we get, there's a few promotional tools you can use, and there's, all these things, none of it costs anything. You don't even have to distribute through us to use all of it. You could actually use us to generate your book and then take it and go direct to all these sales platforms if you want. So, because you own that book, we don't own anything.
And,
So
I
yeah,
talk to authors about this all the time. Like, yes, these companies who distribute books take a cut because,
yeah,
they need to make their money somewhere. And it also is so worthwhile because my accountant costs a lot more than 15% of my
yeah,
ebook.
yeah,
And to centralize the payments and the the tax forms and all of that.
right.
And I do want to talk a little bit about the dashboard where you can track
Okay.
your sales.
Yes. Yeah. Among other things. So we have, I think it's a fairly robust reporting system. Certainly there are services out there you can pay a monthly fee for and get a few more features than we currently offer. But I use my D2D sales board all the time. I mean, I used to pay for services and I decided I didn't have to because I can sort by storefront, by book, by I think even region or territory. I don't do that very often, but you can get all these little reports and you can download it as a spreadsheet if you want. But I like to see the little chart. I like to compare, here's all my books and here's everything that's sold so far. And I can see, number of units sold, or I can see dollar
And that's
figures.
important because
Yeah.
like so you are a multi-book author, so
Right.
perhaps you have a permanent lead magnet, for
Yeah.
instance,
Yeah.
and you're doing a promotion
Right.
on Amazon or on Apple or whatever. You can actually and if you're on the radio, maybe you're on the radio in
Right.
Chicago or somewhere, you can see what the effectiveness of that marketing campaign was.
Yeah, we
And
actually have a couple of tools that I use, and I know others use that can help with that a lot. One of those is our universal book links, which
right.
if I'm going to do a special promotion, or if I'm going to be speaking at a convention or something, or I'm going to be on the radio, I will often create a universal book link. And this is a single link that lets readers find your book in all the various retailers where it appears from one link, right? You can customize it. You can add affiliate codes to it. So if you have like an Amazon Associates account, it's hidden inside of it. So no one ever even sees it. But you can customize that URL. So it's one of mine is books2read.com/QR shaken, because I have a series called Quake Runner. So it's QR shaken. And so I can send that link out. If I'm on the radio or something, I can mention that link because it's real easy to remember, right?
Right.
And then people go buy that book. Well, I get to see the sales. I get to see how many clicks that's gotten within a certain period of time. So I know, well, I did this interview on June 16th. And so I can see like who all, how many people clicked and went through on June 16th, and what stores did they visit? How many clicks was there per store? And then I can look at my sales chart and see from the 16th forward how many sales I got on that book. And so I've got all this data I can use to determine how effective that appearance was. And then the next time.
And I love that. I love that too. And it's at books2read.com.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's kind of our like sister site. And a lot of things are going to be happening with that as we move forward with the Smashwords deal, because we're getting the Smashwords store, for example, as one of the perks of the acquisition. That is officially going to be like the biggest storefront there is for indie authors and independent publishers.
And I've long sold my books directly through the Smashwords channel there, because it's a direct sales channel. There are coupon codes. Are you keeping all of those?
Yeah, all that stuff stays and will probably be enhanced. Pardon me, I have to clear my throat. One, sorry. I apologize for the edit that you have to make there. So yes, we are keeping coupon codes. We are keeping the discounts and things that you can do. Everything that you could do on the Smashwords store is still going to be there. It is the highest royalty that you'll be able to get anywhere.
So tell us what a normal royalty is, like if I'm distributing to the stores, the online retailers, versus the royalty I get by selling directly through that store.
So on average, I mean, a lot of times you can expect to get about a 60% royalty after we take our cut, and as the retailers and all that stuff, after all that stuff happens, it's going to be in the 60, maybe up to the 70% royalty, sometimes as low as 35%. It just depends on the platform. So those things vary per platform.
Okay, so wait a minute. No, so that's distributing to other stores or distributing in the Smashwords Draft2Digital store?
That's what I'm getting to. The average royalty you get for most stores can range from anywhere between 35% and up to 70%, right? But on the Smashwords store, it's going to be more like 80 to 90%. We're finessing and massaging to see what the best possible royalty we can offer is, so because of that, that is going to be there. Like no other retailer is going to compete with that royalty. So that's what we're hoping for. Like what the whole point is, we really love the fact that we'll own this platform, and we have tools that authors can use to promote and get readers to that platform if they want. That's going to make things just wide open for the author. Like it's the whole point of Draft2Digital and Smashwords, and now our combined might, is to remove friction for authors. Like if we see a problem for authors, we're a lot of us are authors ourselves. I'm an author. We got guys like Mark Lefebvre, Nick Thacker, Mark Coker himself is an author. We got a ton of authors on staff. And so we built this thing to solve our problems. So when the whole point is to remove friction. So every time we come up against a wall, we start chipping away at that wall, and then we let the authors run through. That's what we exist for. So it was inevitable that we would have to have some sort of sales platform, some sort of, ebook retailer built into our system. And as we introduce print, like print's still in beta, and I can tell you why it's still in beta, and it's a good reason. But we're going to be introducing print, and we're evolving print too, because right now it's paperbacks, and we've got these, this set of layout sizes or whatever, trim sizes, and then we're going to be adding some trim sizes to that offering. We're going to be offering hardcover. I can't say when. It's something we'll be working on over the next year or two, and the faster we can get it done, the better. Everybody's really anticipating it. But we have a audiobook partner with Findaway Voices. We're looking at how do we integrate that into what we're doing. We're really leaning heavy on audiobooks. There's all kinds of strategies happening behind the scenes for audio. So yeah, all that stuff. And so D2D print, the reason it's still in beta is because when we first introduced it, we had a print partner, IPG, which is a company if you've been in the publishing industry at all, you've heard of them. And they wanted to get into the self-publishing game, and they heard of us, which tends to happen. And so they came to us, they made a pitch, asked us to start, working with them, and we did. And turns out they just could not handle the number of books and authors and changes and all the things that we brought to them. And so
this is the lean and mean startup, Silicon Valley sort of thing that happened versus the old publishing paradigm, which is a big, heavy, overhead.
We're so surprised that authors would order like a single copy of their book. Like that just shocked them. Like, why would an author only order one copy? And so that caused all kinds of headaches and problems, because they didn't realize the nature of the indie author and the indie publisher. It's not their fault. It would be hard to realize this, because if all you've ever known is, the ocean, then rivers seem strange to you, but we've switched partners, and we're now working with Ingram as a partner. We get their expanded distribution network, which puts us, able to put books all over the planet. Everywhere Ingram can distribute, we can get to. We're working on some deals with the hang up right now. The reason we're still in beta is, remember I said, our job is to remove friction, solve a problem. There's a problem, and it's one that nobody else has managed to solve yet. And that is author copies outside of the Americas. And you can get them, but it's going to cost you a fortune because of shipping. So what we've been working on is making relationships with printers all over the world, overseas from the United States, and getting those relationships set up so that we can get author copies to authors for less money. It doesn't impact, for whatever reason, it has no impact on the price and availability of a book for a reader. A reader can go on any website that offers your book, buy it, get it in the usual timeline for for whatever their price is, and there's no problem. But when it comes to author copies, that's something that nobody's solved yet, and so we're solving
Yeah.
it.
Well, that's the behind the scenes is a little bit crazy. And I think a lot of authors who are used to just going to Amazon don't realize, this is more than the one channel, and it's worth going wide, I think. And and getting the author copies can be tough for sure. And we're talking about advanced reader copies, ARCs, so you can actually see your book in print format.
Or if you are looking to, some people still like to take a bunch of copies with them to a convention, or right. Or I sold a bunch of copies of my books in our community garage sale a month or two ago. So, now if you're in America or Canada, getting author copies isn't such a big deal. They're just as they cost what they cost. You can buy them for the wholesale price, print price, plus shipping. Shipping is always expensive, but it all works out. But if you were in England or Australia, you're going to pay a lot more.
A little harder.
Yeah. So we're working on solving that.
Okay, well, good. I look forward to that. And, meantime, I really have always loved your ebook distribution because it is very wide. And also, I want you to talk a little bit about the library market and the library distribution, because a lot of nonfiction authors have books that are of interest to libraries. So how does ebook distribution work with libraries?
As with everything we do, whatever channel you submit to is opt-in. So if you want to get to libraries, there is a checkbox when you get to that section, and it gives you all the different library options, and you can select the ones you want and uncheck the ones you don't. And you can set your library price separately from your retail price. We made that very easy and automated.
Oh my gosh, I know. And I know you have a lot on your website of help. You have great customer service. You want to talk about your customer service for a minute?
I am not exaggerating in the least when I say that it's hands down the best customer service you're going to get for any market, any platform. You can actually call these folks on the phone. Try that anywhere else. You'll get a real live human. I used to say real live human in Oklahoma City, but now we are a remote first company. And so you might be talking to somebody in a different city or a different state, but they're all American, well, I think we've got some folks overseas. They all speak English as their first language. They all are very knowledgeable about the industry, and they're there to help. They may not always answer. We answer during business hours, our business hours, but you can email. If you are desperate, you can sometimes just send a tweet. And we've got people monitoring all these things and funneling you where you need to go.
I want all authors to get a Twitter account just for customer support, because so many companies do use Twitter for that. But yes, really and truly, this is not a call back in a few days.
Right.
It's, really, you do have wonderful customer support. And I know that people really want to talk to someone on the phone when they're confused.
Yeah.
Hey, we could talk so long, and we will talk again soon, I hope, when you start rolling in new features and you have more, especially for interest to the nonfiction author who, are looking for various printing options, and definitely the ebook distribution. So I just want to be clear that you can use Draft2Digital ebook distribution and then go elsewhere for print, or mix and match.
You can definitely do that.
Amazon and anywhere else. Can you pick and choose where you distribute?
Yeah, in fact, a very common one is people will uncheck, say, Amazon or Kobo, and go direct to those platforms and use us for everyone else. And in fact, I do that. I use us for everyone but Amazon. Um, like I said, everything is opt in. We're never going to force you to use a retailer. We don't have rules on that. You won't even be forced to use the Smashwords store. You can choose to opt out of that as well. So yeah, we want the idea is to give authors is all the options and none of the limitations. That's our hope. That's our
I
plan.
love that, Kevin. And even though you're a fiction author,
Yeah.
I do
And I do
send
some
many.
nonfiction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do you? Okay, good.
Yeah.
I do send people to your website a lot. It's pretty fancy, but I love how you handle the giveaways,
Yeah.
and also your anthologies that you and marketing that you do
Yes.
with other authors in your genre. And you're just a great role model with your email marketing and all of that. And I do want people to go to kevintumlinson.com because you're just a fun guy, Kevin. You got a podcast and all of that. So I put that
Thank you.
pitch in for you.
Thank you.
And why don't you tell us what there is on the Draft2Digital website for authors to explore now?
Among other things, I mean, we're right now getting all the pieces together to get our authors into the Smashwords store and use those tools. But we have all these promotional tools that are growing. We have someone who actually does the promotions for authors. She goes and talks to retailers, and if there's an opportunity, you can get on a list and get into those. It's sort of a first come first serve or lottery kind of situation sometimes, but they're there. And we have a lot of price change. You can schedule price changes if you're going to do a promotion. Very handy for BookBub deals if you get a BookBub deal. So yeah, we're building out all that stuff. All that stuff is growing, and we're getting really good at it. I mean, it's been a long. I've been there 6 years, and some of this stuff only came to exist within the past year or so. But it's
That's
already
cool.
better than you
So
can find somewhere else.
I mean, we're all evolving for sure,
Yeah,
and it's
right.
it's very cool to watch. So even if I'm not a Draft2Digital author, what can I sign up to use on the Draft2Digital site? The books to read is one for that URL.
You
That
can use us for everything I've talked about is available to
formatting the
you for
book.
free. Yeah, that you can format your book. So if you've got a Word document or something, you can upload that, choose a template, format it, spit it out as a ebook, a PDF, a print ready PDF, even Mobi, even though that's not supported by anybody anymore. You can still produce a Mobi. All that automation, everything is built in for you. You do not have to distribute the rest to use it. My recommendation is that people should just go sign up and play with those tools and see if it's something they think they could use. You can always distribute and undistribute. I mean, you can delist anytime. You do not ever have to stay with us. Never any obligations, no contracts, no costs. We legitimately are just trying to get you some book sales. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, go play. I always encourage authors to go play with the tools.
Yeah,
You don't even have to start distributing. You can just see what it looks like and
right.
get used to the process. Well,
Yeah, of
thanks so much, Kevin, for being our guest today.
course. Anytime.
And thank you to our listeners for joining us today. We conduct these interviews every Wednesday, and you can check the schedule or sign up for our mailing list to get notifications or on our events page at nonfictionauthorsassociation.com. And please look for Nonfiction Authors Association on YouTube, especially these days. Thanks again.